experience with online teaching and what are the key pedagogical takeaways from your experience?
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Madhurima and the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I will be brief. So I have been teaching both undergraduate students in science and engineering and integrated MSc students both in the online as well as the offline mode. I would like to share my experience and by chance I hit upon this succinct quote by Robert Maynard Hutchins, which completely summarizes what is going to be our ultimate aim in teaching is going to foster critical thinking. So the question here is like, if I would like to share my experience, I would like to look at it through this prism as to our ultimate goal is to make them critically think, and the question is if online teaching can effectively do this. My answer would be yes, but it has some caveats. So I would just very briefly mention one or two online takeaways I've had in teaching a multi-section course over a couple of semesters online. And most of the points have already been touched upon by others from this morning, so I will make it very brief. So I will present these insights from the interaction I've had with students, what they think about it. So very small story. So last week when I was in my office, 4 students walk into my office and they tell me they have some doubt in mechanics. And I'm looking at them, I'm not teaching them this semester. And looking at me, they tell me that I have gone through your online lectures and I have a specific question on the method you have used in the online lecture, so can you please clarify that? So my first insight is the material should be available for them to review because each student learns at a different pace, and there should also be some availability for them if they listen to your lectures. At least there should be some chance once a week or even less frequent where they can come and clarify their doubts. And the second main thing what I have gained in this process is that the problems we are solving should be relatable to the students. We keep seeing our physics textbooks are filled with pulleys. Perhaps I have seen as a kid pulley being used to draw water, but unless the students are going to observe a crane carefully, they will not know what is a pulley. So when I look at, when we give problems to them, just a small example, when we drive through the roads, you see a lot of bumpers on the road, and the pictures of this also keeps varying depending on whether you're near a toll booth or you're driving in the city and so on. So when you ask them to solve a problem, telling them that when you teach them vibrations or oscillations, tell them that what will be the speed with which you have to drive the car so the passengers are not going to feel that vibration. Even on campus, I actually do give them the exact numbers of what is the distance between those bumpers on the road. And they find it very exciting to calculate because they're applying their knowledge to something which they see every day. So giving them relatable problems, yes, will definitely foster critical thinking. That is something which I have gained. And if I have one or two more minutes, I would just tell you about the lab we did differently. So we all recorded lectures, made them see, flipped classroom. But what I felt worked the best with regard to a lab was that we had a 70-student MSc Physics lab. This is their second year lab. We introduced something called as hypothesis-based experiment. So we have 4 hours for the experiment on 2 different days, so 2 hours each. So the first 2 hours we make the students sit as a group. That will foster their interaction with each other. So as a group, they design the experiment and come up with a hypothesis. So we also do, like if it's electromagnetism and optics lab, they do their courses, EMT1 as well as optics is done together in that semester. So they actually test what they are learning and they design their experiment. So it is not a cookbook recipe where I have to plug in this, do that and so on. So that is one thing, their attitude towards learning changes. They compete with each other as to see, we select only 2 or 3 hypotheses. We ran this in online and then we actually live demonstrate that experiment and they record the readings. It was difficult during COVID, but we still did it. So they can relate to what I wanted to test is what is being done for me as an experiment. So the attitude towards learning itself changes. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, next to Saititi.
Okay, I am at GITAM. So I have 2 points which I want to raise here. It's very important even for the management to help us out with this. or the institute to help us out. So this is one point which I wanted to really put forward. I just remember the March 17th we all had to just come in. March 18th we were closed. So we didn't know what we were doing. But the institute came in, pitched in, and that was when all of us were given a free Zoom account. I mean, not the 45 minutes one, where we can take class beyond 45 minutes. And that was when we started looking, the institute, I mean the leaders in the institute started training all of us, how do we have to look at different pedagogies, or what all can we do. So there was one kind of a study where what happens if the institute or the management doesn't pitch in and you still have to take an online class. So there is also one study which comes with that, and I think that way GITAM has done really well. I mean, none of us had a problem taking care of this. And there was also a scheme that they called about, if you have a faculty and you don't have a laptop, we would help you to buy your laptops. So, I mean, they supported us a lot in this when it came to that. Okay, the second point which I wanted to also talk about is the pedagogy that came inside. Many of us did not know what are open education resources. Many of us did not know that we could have free tools that are available. So COVID online teaching is a blessing as well as the problem when it comes to learning. So I think the learning was never measured when it came to online. We only measure it when we're talking about talking across the students. So with these things, we have started another project onto the campus. Our classrooms are on the L1 side where the whole class can be projected into another class. So what we have started is, this is basically for the physics classes that we have started. We have done one semester of this testing. It was me with another faculty with Swaroop. We used to teach in one section. The other section, we have the faculty there, but the students listen to us as if it's online. And we tested this because we had a lot of technical problems for the first time. We are going in for the second time again, and we have realized that if the teacher is there with them, although it is online, they are comfortable. So is that the presence of the teacher makes a lot of a difference? It's something we are still trying to test with our students. So this is a kind of a study we are doing now. And as of now, it's 2 classes. We're thinking how do we extend it to 3 classes also. Because classrooms are really good and we can extend this further. So online teaching has taught us, but also I think destruction is there. I will not say that there's a lot of benefit out of it.
Okay, thank you Sahipriti for sharing your experience. Now the question is for Atulya. So, what has been your experience with online teaching? Can you tell us about how effective were the online classes in engaging your attention, and which specific course do you think that it is difficult or it is easy?
Okay, first of all, we have many debates about this virtual classrooms, and you know the merits and demerits regarding that all. And also we had great speakers here who were discussing about virtual labs and all. I'm coming from Kerala, and when I think about my bachelor period, it was from 2018 to 21, and we have many pandemic disasters like Nipah, flood. Kerala flood was known to everyone 2019, and at last this COVID. So our bachelor period was full of these disasters and pandemic issues. And I think in all these days, how this government and humanity effectively united and never ever compromised to provide us with education. This scenario was very new to as well as students and teachers and to every institute. We don't know in our future journey what all pandemic and disasters we are going to face, but that unity that we are together and we can make it out of this is great. And they never compromised our education. They give us the best that they could at that time. And after this we are thinking what we can do to next. Like now this research are coming like how can we improve this virtual classes and lab facilities, for first time when we are doing this virtual labs, it was in our MSc period, we are trying this virtual labs, and it was like connecting dots in children digest and all, like we know 1 to 2, 3, we are going through that points alone, and what if 1 to 3 we join, we don't know what will happen. But the only option left was to use this virtual lab, and it was very useful at that time. But we all opt to do the practical versions, right? We want that practical experience. But at that time, there were no options for us to come out and do this practicals. The main thing we have to do is to, everything starts with our health, right? We have to look after our health, our public. That's the main thing we have to focus. If we are there, we can do all these things. So at that time, that virtual lab was totally okay for us. So after coming out, we can do this practical sections. It was like that, and it was really helpful for us at that time. But we as physics students, we like to do these practicals, and the major missing part of that was the social life. We want to come out and talk to people. Not only the physics environment we have. When we are in a college, we used to meet this chemistry people, the people who studies chemistry and social science, and that diversity. We love to enjoy that diversity. So what we were missing mainly was that social life, and all we just want is that not only the academic, but also to find the good peoples in our life, to have that contact, to have that conversations. We love to do that, and the major missing was during that time is that, I think. And what subject will be easy to study in online, I don't know. I think
which theory paper was difficult and which theory paper was easy for you?
I don't know, it depends upon people, right? Everyone's struggle is different, everyone's surrounding is different, we don't know. When we are conducting studies and all, we are not taking one person and we are not checking what's your problem, what's the problem you are facing. We are generalizing things. For this area, this will be the problem. Everyone's struggle is different, right? Everyone has their own problems, and we can't find to the atomic level, we can't find what's the struggling each one is going through. So it's a different journey for everyone. So it's like we have to adapt to the situation. And in Kerala, that there are many situations like people don't have smartphones to attend the online classes, and certain organization or certain company will come up with this smartphone and gift them. And such things were so common in Kerala. The helping hands they provide was too awesome. And every time when certain panic or disaster occur, how the humanity come together and stay such close that to fight for this condition. It's very important, and we all have to learn that. That's the thing, and it's actually adapting us. This all pandemic and disaster is adapting us to come as a human. That means come under that one system. That unity is the motto that they are keeping. Okay. So beyond keeping this gender inequality and fighting for this gender equity and all, that's all things are very, very important, because we are facing many problems due to that and all. In our daily life, we are facing many problems like that. So the main thing is humanity is the main thing we have to focus.
So the next question is for Subhajit. He is a pharmacy student. So what is your experience with this online teaching?
Good afternoon everybody present over here. My experience in the online teaching was the month of September when the initial days of online classes started for the first year. Especially my first 2 years went in online teaching only. I came in the 5th semester starting initial. So in those 2 years, my major area was in the focusing in inorganic and organic chemistry. But But coming to the textbook, a lack of knowledge was missing in the utilizing the textbook. We used to depend upon the PPTs, and many academies were open. We used to go with the chemistry, chem text media, and medical text PDFs. Khan Academy and Byju's app were engaged. But at that time, coming to other subjects like pharmacology, other subjects like medicinal chemistry, these were very interesting in the online only. But when our teachers were very supportive and very good patience they were having. And GITAM management has done a good thing that they have given us the mentors during our online session. Every weekend of this Friday only, mentor used to guide us how to study, how to cover up with the exam, how to go up with the online exam. If any problem in the exam point of view, they were supportive also. Even I am having experience during the online exam. When the core tantra was introduced first 3 hours in that 2.5 hours was our time limit, and half an hour beyond the core tantra website used to be closed. But before 15 minutes we used to get the notification to stop the exam, review the paper, and the GITAM management and all the teachers of all the Department of Physics, Department of Maths, and Department of Pharmacy, and Department of Science and Social Science were very kind and having the patience to listen and support the students. And it was a very interesting in the online teaching. Only the thing which we lost is going to the library, utilizing the textbook, what is the concept in the textbook, and comparing with the PPTs to write in the answer booklet. That was only the lacking.
Okay, thank you, Subhajit. Then let us move to Manaswini. She is a food science student at GITAM University, and tell us about your experience about online teaching.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, completing 12th standard and getting into a university is a big thing. After getting into university, after 1 month or so, khatam, college band, online classes. It was a big what they'll say, shock to us, like how could we manage all those and all. Like our teachers, that was our first semester in the BSc, they were like, they came up with different types of techniques, like showing YouTube videos in the class, and they tried each and every single way to keep us engaged. Like they'll keep online polls after a session, they'll keep polls saying that which poll quizzes and all. They'll create breakout rooms to keep us to give us completely a class experience to discuss with students separately what was our experience, what was our thought on the session given. And like for first few days it was very difficult to adapt all these, and later on it was very comfortable and all. When it comes to laboratory experiments and what they'll say, practical sessions, it was good until the procedure and equipment, instrumentation, to know all the procedures and equipment, but the complete efficiency of the experiment would be if it is done in a practical way. So yeah, maybe that's all.
Okay, so let us move to the next question, which is very interesting. So what is your experience about online examination and evaluation, both for the teacher side as well as for the student side?
Okay. So in the case of lab, what we did was every lab was evaluatory, in the sense we had a rubric which the students are already aware of. So they presented it as a group, and they knew upfront when they present this what are the conditions on which they are going to be evaluated. And at the end of the lab, the entire semester we ran without giving them an exam, because every lab was taken seriously by them. But when it comes to a theory course or a multi-section course, we use this platform called Canvas. So the advantage was like they cannot revisit questions. Institute had also got this software called as Metal. So they cannot revisit, their video camera, everything is on, sound, everything is kept on, and they cannot revisit questions, and it, according to me, went on fine. There was not like much of a hiccup. And we also changed our evaluation methods for when it comes to our MSc courses. We did not follow the traditional route of like, they have to answer this, that. So some of the advanced courses, we gave them a research paper and gave them questions to answer based on what we have taught them in the class. So it is a nice experience for them. So we kind of changed our evaluation methods is what I would say. It worked out well.
Okay. Saipiti?
Oh, I feel like a disaster sometimes because the evaluation we were struggling for it for quite some time. And of course, we had to also change our methods, like what you were saying, although these are all undergraduate kids and they're much smarter than us. So you give one question out, it is out before even we know it is out. So that we were struggling. So for that, all of us had to just sit down, make a whole very big basket of questions for the formative assessments, so that each of them could get different ones. So that, and we have Moodle. Okay. So that way we could, tweak a little of the formative assessments. But the summative assessment, we took tools from outside. And the worst part, I think, was the invigilation. So we had about 30 students and we had to just keep watching what they were doing. I think as a teacher, I just hated that part of it. I like the invigilation better going around than doing it online. So yeah, it was a struggle but a learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Manaswini, so do you prefer online exam or offline exam? What is your experience?
Or no exam.
Or no exam.
As a typical student, I can choose offline, online exam, but online exams will not lead to anything, like completely nothing. So many people see, first what they did, we need to use two devices. One webcam should be on and another device is for questions. And later on they came up with another, students came up with another idea. What if you give two devices? We will have another device and we'll do whatever we want. It was like a competition, we will come up with each and every solution to copy and write. As per me, offline exams are very much better than online, because through online, student who is attentive in each and every class and listen to it and attempt it in a ethical way, and there is no difference between one who will never listen to class, who will never join, but they'll get more than us, because they have techniques. They have each and every technique to give the exam. Yeah, offline exams are
okay. What about your experience, Atulya? And what is your preference, online exam or offline exam?
Offline exams.
Okay.
Because when net connectivity issue and all come, it will be better, because the pressure is more in online exam, I think.